Thanks for tuning in, guys. Today we're going to do a potato cake. I like to use them for breakfast, but they can also be used for lunch or dinner as well. Last night we had an entree that had baked potatoes. I used red potatoes. You can use any potato, including sweet potatoes or yams. And I just made sure they were cooked really good. I threw some extra ones in the oven. If you're in a pinch, you can do this in the microwave as well. Just do it until your potatoes are soft. They usually take anywhere between 1.5 minutes to 2 minutes each. So I'm just going to start by just kind of chopping them up into smaller pieces because it'll make them easier to mash. If you don't think they're quite soft enough, go ahead and throw them into the microwave for a few more minutes, or if you prefer to boil them in a pot with water until they're just covered and just until you get them to the consistency that you would like. But you can see mine are pretty soft. Some of them are falling apart as I'm cutting them up here. But this is just going to, again, make them easier to mash, so you don't have to put too much work into that process. So I'm going to cut them up, put them in here. And this, like I said, it's a great dish for breakfast, but can be used as a side dish to an entree or just an easy lunch. You could put a fried potato over it for breakfast. For lunch, you could have it as a side dish to a burger. It's, you know, the options are endless. So we're just about done chopping here. One more chop. And then as far as the ingredients go, super quick. And you should have all these, if not most of these, in your pantry already. Normally you could use a chicken stock, but because we're doing the Whole30, this one is compliant, and it is a vegetable broth that I found at Trader Joe's. And you can take a look at the ingredients, but no crazy stuff in there. Then I'm just going to use an Italian blend. Feel free to throw in whatever seasonings you want, and a little bit of salt. You can also use some clarified butter in here or ghee just to give it a little bit more richness. So I'm just going to take this little potato masher here, and I'm just going to start squishing them down. And then once I get to the point where I feel like I can't really move them too much anymore, I'm going to throw in some stock, and that'll help loosen it up so we can form them into cakes. So I'm going to go ahead and add in a little bit, of my vegetable broth. Probably start with about 1/4 to 1/2 cup, just to loosen them up a little bit. And notice I left the skin on. That is your preference. We like our skin. I actually think it adds some nice texture and flavor. But if you prefer the skin off, I would suggest peeling them prior to softening them. So if you're going to do it in the boiling water, obviously you peel them first and then put them in the water. I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit more broth. Probably about another 1/4 to 1/3 cup. And I'm just going to keep mashing. At the same time, I'm going to add in about a tablespoon or 2 of Italian seasoning. And probably the equivalent of about 1.5 to 2 teaspoons salt. Another addition to this, it'll help kind of keep them together when you go to pan fry them, is an egg. So I think I'll also crack an egg in here, and that'll just help keep them together and keep their shape in the pan. We're almost there. So I'm going to go ahead and crack an egg. And incorporate that. And then after you're done mashing them, just go through with a spoon. Make sure it's all mixed together, all your seasonings and stuff. And then we'll be ready to form some patties. And while I'm doing this, I have a saute pan on medium to medium-high heat. And then right before we go to put our potato cakes in, we'll just add a little clarified butter or ghee in there, and that'll give the outsides this nice, crispy, crunchy, buttery texture. Alright, I'm ready to stir this up. Alright, so I have mixed in, made sure everything's incorporated. Prior to adding the egg, it's always a good idea to taste your potato mixture just to make sure it's got the right amount of salt and seasoning that you want. I take that for granted because I've done it before, but to my hot pan that's on medium to medium high heat, I'm going to go ahead and add some clarified butter. Like I said, that'll really help to make your outside kind of that crispy texture when it's soft on the inside, and I love that butter flavor. So I'm going to use an ice cream scoop, and I'm just going to go ahead and put one down and use the back of it just to kind of smash it down a little bit. You can also use your fingers if you're feeling dangerous. And I'll just put a few on for now. These you can make the night before also, and then just stick them in the fridge and warm them up for breakfast. Make your breakfast go a whole lot faster. And then I'm just going to leave them on for about 2 to 3 minutes on each side. We'll come back and check them and make sure that it's got that crispy texture we're looking for. Okay, so it's been about 2.5 to 3 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and flip my potato cakes. If I can get this sucker on here. Oh, love that color. That's going to give you again that nice crispy outside, the soft center. I'm not doing a great job of flipping today, but you get the point. Take a look at those. Delicious. Fantastic for when you just can't take another day of eggs. Like I said, a fried egg would be great on these, but if you just can't do eggs anymore, just serve this with some fresh fruit or maybe a side of sauteed veggies. Delicious. You get that nice crispiness from the skin that I left in there, as well as the butter on the outside. And then you can top it with a little bit more salt or pepper when you're done if you want to taste. So another 2 minutes on this side, guys, and you're done. You've got delicious potato cakes you can have any time of the day. Nutritional, healthy, and easy. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure to subscribe and give a thumbs up if you like.